Hey guys, welcome to the next assignment here. This is going to be an exercise in digital drawing. We're going to be using the tablet and the stylus that goes along with it, and we're going to be installing some brushes that will do a pretty good job of emulating what a real drawing tool looks like, adding texture and responsiveness to the brush, and there's a lot of really cool stuff that you can do with it. And we're going to add a bunch of brushes right off the bat just to get started with this so you can have more creative options to work with. And then we're going to talk about the logistics of putting things together. So let's go ahead and start off this project by going into the file, the assignment. Let's take a look at it, Watercolor Creations. It says create a new folder in your home directory and then label it. You can just copy and paste this name right here. So copy 03 digital drawing and paste that into the name of the folder. Next, you want to download the .psd file for this project. It's right here, and put it into the project folder. Then you want to download this file right here, the Megapack ABR. That stands for Adobe Brush. Then once you have it downloaded, you can double click on the ABR file to install a new set of brushes in Photoshop. And so that's going to look like this. You'll see the file here. See my 03, sorry. This one for you guys is called, let's just name it, digital drawing. Digital drawing, and that is 03. So it's going to look like this. And then inside of that, you'll have this file right here, or actually, this is what you downloaded. Excuse me, and you can either put it in here into this folder, or you can just double click on it. When you double click on it, it automatically opens in Photoshop, and you'll see right here in our brush settings. Let's get to here. So if you click on the brush tab and then you click on this little button right here, you'll see brush settings, and then attached to that is the brushes themselves, and the brushes are organized according to different groups here. So we're looking at this one, 02 Megapack. When you open it up, you'll see it has erasers, so different types of erasers. They behave differently. They have different types of qualities to them. We have the drawing box, and there's a bunch of different drawing tools inside of here. There's a whole bunch inside of here, so there's lots to experiment. There's lots of creative potential inside of here. Look at me, just the drawing box tools there are. There's tons and tons, and they have all kinds of cool textures to them, and they behave in a really cool way. So very creative outlets here. Very lots of possibility with this. This one's called Ink Box. So these are all ink brushes, and then just scrolling down through it. Again, there's tons and tons of stuff in here to look at, and one of the hardest parts of this project might be just choosing a cool brush to do this assignment with, because there's all kinds of stuff to do here. Let's keep looking. So there's a paint box, real oil paints. All these are paint brushes. This is a classic collection from this particular brush designer. And some bonus brushes, this chunky charcoal brush, and then some technical pens. So these would have looking like very thin lined drawing tools. So these are the tools, and now you have access to all of them. Now you should be working with your tablet at this point, and holding that pen like, it's not a magic wand like Harry Potter. It's actually like a pen that you want to hold, and like you're going to write your name with it. You should hold it like that. And I've done a couple of little drawings here. The file itself looks like, let's see, the original file looks like this, and it just has 5 different watermarks on it. And what you're going to do is look at them and allow your mind to just kind of wander for a minute and think about, okay, well, when I look at this, what do I see in here? And you can experiment with rotating it different ways. Like maybe you want it to be vertical, maybe you want it to go this way, maybe you want it to be this way. You know, there's all kinds of ways that you can look at it, because you might come up with different solutions in different configurations. So I'm fine with that as long as they don't overlap each other. Okay, that's the only thing that we want to make sure of here, is we don't want it to overlap. Once you have it established where you want it, we're going to zoom in on that section. So Z for the zoom tool, click and drag, and we're going to fill up a large portion of the screen with the drawing. Now, here's a brief shortcut. If you hold the space bar down while you're zoomed in on something, you get the hand tool, and then you can just click and drag and move this and reposition this wherever you want to. So you could zoom in really close and be working on an area where that has a high level of detail to it. And then if you want to move around to another part, you just grab the space bar and grab the hand tool and move things around like this. Command 0 to zoom out, Z for zoom, and move back in, etc., etc. You can also do that with the brush tool selected, so B for the brush tool, and you notice it says I can't draw on this right now. And that brings us to our next step, which is once you have a vision for what you want to make, we're going to come over here and we're going to add a new layer. So we're just going to select the layer that we want to add a layer above, and we're going to hit this button right here that says add a new layer, and we'll get the blank layer above it. Now, before we do anything else, I want you to hold the shift key down and click on the layer directly below it. So we have this one on top and the image below it, and then we're going to hit this chain link right here, and that's going to link these two things together. So whatever I do to this one will happen to this one, and vice versa. So if I change the rotation or position, they'll both move together, because this one up here is going to be our drawing. Okay, and we can go ahead and name that just by clicking in there. And this one has a funky name, a nice PNG toilet. I don't know what that means. Anyway, it just came from online. I did not create the watercolor. This is a download. Next step. Now I'm working with a mouse. I don't have a tablet right in front of me, unfortunately. I forgot it at school, and I'm doing this tutorial at home. But what I'm going to do is just kind of look through here and find a brush that looks interesting to me. Okay, and you just do that by clicking on these and selecting them. And I have this zoomed in really closely. When it's out like this, I don't really like that, so I can grab this bottom bar here and zoom in. I like to see what the brush tip shape looks like, and you can tell what kind of brush it is as well. So I'm looking for paint brushes specifically. Anything like this is what's called a smudge brush, and we'll talk about that in just a bit. We're just looking for paint brushes. So I'm going to be doing some drawing, and I'd like it to, you know, have a little bit of texture to it. Texture meaning you can see like it has a feel to it, what it would feel like. And one thing you'll notice that when I'm drawing with the mouse is it's all the same width the whole time. Like, it doesn't change its width. But when you're on your tablet, if you press lightly, you'll get a thinner line, and if you press down harder, you'll get a thicker line. So that's a real another level of control there that works really well in this drawing technique. But you know, if I just draw some lines in here and I zoom in real close, you'll see they look like they have kind of some texture to them. They're a little bit roughed up. Some of them more than others. Some of them are bigger, and you know, they kind of have like rough edges to them. Some are more smooth at the edges, but look at the inside, there's lots of like breakups on it, and so we're seeing through it. So it looks like it has some kind of texture. It's a graphite control. I don't know what that means, but as we run over the top of it, it starts to build up more and more, kind of like a real pencil would, right? And let's go back and undo those things. But what we're going to do is select a brush that we like, and please spend time like looking at the different brushes, because there's so many different ones. Don't just jump into the first one you see, because the choice of the brush really has a lot to do with how the outcome of this project will look. So spend some time, right? And like I said, this one's huge. These are pencils down in here, so these are designed to look like pencils. They'll build up over time as you overlap them. They have nice fall off when you're using the tablet, so they can go from thin to thick. Very thin mechanical pencils like the clicker type that you use. Big like drawing charcoals. Pastel Palooza. That one's pretty solid. All kinds of cool stuff here. And some of these like respond to tilting. Like if you tilt the brush in your hand, you'll get a different result as well. We'll go through this during class too. Just take a look at them and observe. But you can see lots and lots of different types of brushes in here. Tons of like cool options for whatever texture that you're trying to come up with. I'm going to go in here and just grab this rough sketch pencil here, and I'll take a look at that. I like that. It's kind of rough to it. There's a roughness to it. And then what I'm going to do is just kind of observe this thing for a minute and think about what is it that I can see in here. And right at the bat, I'm just kind of looking at this piece here, and this piece is kind of making me think of like a fox's tail. So I kind of see this foxtail coming down through here, and maybe make it bushy on this side too. Something like this. And then maybe he's got a little fox feet here. I'll kind of draw it down like this. And you might be saying, Cross, I'm not sure how to draw. And this isn't really a critique of your drawing ability. This is more of just a chance to use your imagination and show me what you can think of, This is just an exercise in imagination. I want you to forgive my drawing because I'm drawing with my mouse, and it is a terrible tool to try and draw with, especially this one because it's what's called a vertical mouse, and has a very awkward shape to it for doing things like drawing. I do not recommend using your mouse to draw. That's why we have those awesome tablets in front of us, and I want you to make use of them. So off the back of him, I kind of see this, and then down to here, and we'll just imagine like this is, he has another leg in here, like this, and then he has a really long face. Do something like this. He has a nose to him as well. Again, this is not my favorite tool to be drawn with. I'll put an ear on him. And then he's got, I might zoom in on this section. Oh, now here's something you should know about brushes. You change the size of the brush using the bracket key, just like we changed the size of our brush in our last example to paint the mask. Same idea here in this tool, which is to let's see, what does his mouth do right there? Yeah, a little bit of this, and then maybe some whiskers coming off. And he's probably got a little dog eye right here. Make it overlap just a little bit. Fill it in, because dog's eyes are pretty big and dark. Like this, I'll leave a little bit of shine on the inside there by not drawing into it. And then, maybe a few little marks here, show some eyebrows or whatever. He's got one in ear here, maybe he should have another ear coming off this way. Do a little overlapping there. And there we go. So now we've got this guy, and we built him out of just this shape that was right here. Maybe you could put some wings on him or something, Fantastic creatures. I made this monster right here. He just kind of jumped out at me. Rawr. This rabbit. I like it now. I've got the rabbit and the fox. I could probably do a better fox, but again, drawing with my mouse is not my favorite way to go about this. But what you see now here is that I have the drawing over the top and the image underneath. And remember, I was going to name that drawing. I think I did some undos there. And this would be the idea. Now, what I'd like you to do is get in and do a lot more detail, as much detail as possible inside of these. And if you would like to, you may add color to the pieces. You want to be cautious, and I'll talk about adding color to a piece And maybe I'll just use this guy as an example, this monster. But take a look at this. Before you move on to something, hold the shift key down and select both layers, and then we can right click and say group from layers, and we'll make a new group, and this one's going to be Fox. And when I press that return key, now I have a group with the drawing inside of it, and I'm going to move it down into the stack. So I have Fox, Rabbit, and Monster. So let's take a look at adding color to something. Okay, so I'm going to open up this monster layer, and I'm going to zoom in on this guy. Remember, fill up the screen with what you're going to work on. So in here, if you want to add color, this is what you do. You want to put a layer in between the drawing layer and the watercolor layer. So we start by selecting the watercolor layer, we add a layer in between, and make a sandwich. And this one's going to be the color layer. So it's great to name everything. Name your layers. Don't just have them be random. You can name them. There's all kinds of different ways to work, but you know, I'd encourage you to do this. Now, the thing that's important about this is I'm going to go ahead. If you have your color window, you can work from this, and this thing is resizable. You can make it super huge if you want to see the colors really well. You want to pick them out, and then when you're done, you can just hit this button and collapse it down into this, and then click on this button again so you have the access to the color, and just move this somewhere where it's, you know, where it works for you. Select a hue. I'm going to give this guy some like nasty teeth. Okay, so I'm going to give him some like funky yellow to his teeth. And once I have that selected, I can fold this up. You know, we're back to here. And then here's the thing to note. So with the drawing layer over the top and color underneath, as I draw through, you'll see that the black line stays up on the top, right? Because it's underneath this one. So here's the color layer. Here's the black line over the top, right? I'm going to go back here and do a little bit better job now. So now that I have that set, I'm going to zoom in. I'm going to change the size of my brush. I'm going to make it small. And just thinking about how these nasty teeth might look, you know, yellow up at the top because he doesn't brush his teeth very well or frequently. And so he's got nasty yellow teeth because all the junk he eats. And then I'll come over this way and paint some more up here. Maybe, you know, get in here and some of this, some of that. And just kind of make these teeth grossing them out some more than others, you know. Maybe this one underneath. This one's hard to get to, you know, so let's grab a color here and make it even. Let's make it darker like this. Come in here and make even more gross stuff. Make it smaller. Let's add some more gross. Oh yeah. Grody. Now you see, if you have your swatches open also, you'll see the last colors that you worked with right here in this list at the top. So you can kind of, from that point, once you have a couple colors going, you just go back and forth and like sample from the swatch tab right there. And this is just a, you know, something that you learn over time. Maybe we could even go in and add some like deep red in here. Ooh, funky. Now, if you take a look up at the top, you'll see I'm kind of going outside of the boundaries here. If you flip your tool over, actually before you flip your tool over, the drawing tool in your hand, you can actually go in and select an eraser that you want to use. And I recommend using something that is already created. I like this basic eraser here. It has a funky shape to it, and once you select that, when you flip your tool over, it'll automatically have this eraser assigned to it. And then you can just go around the outsides and kind of clean it up. Notice I'm zoomed in really closely. I want to overemphasize that. You want to do this work really closely so you can kind of get in there and really make some adjustments without making a messy drawing and being sloppy, right? So let's get back in here, back in the brushes we talked about. we talked about changing the shape, picking a color, putting the layer underneath. Now we just got to start like making the drawing happen. And you can go as far as you want to with this one. In fact, what I'm looking for, if you're looking for a 4 on this assignment, I'm looking for lots of detail, okay? And I'm going to talk a little bit this week about what the scale means, that 1 through 4 scale that I've been using to grade. And I'm going to be consistent with that actually throughout the rest of the year, just 1 through 4. And the idea is really, trying to get away from the idea of like, grades like A, B, C, D, E, F. You got an E grade, A, B, C, D, F. And more it's about like learning what you're trying to do rather than trying to get a grade. Like I want to see what you can do. I want to see that you can learn how to do this stuff and apply what you've learned to your creation. So here's an example of my monster with some color in his drawing layer, right? So we have a drawing, and then we have the color, and then we have our background there as well. If we wanted to go into his eyeballs, I'd do the same thing. Color layer, select the brush, grab a color, B for brush, grab a, I'm gonna go a little bit, maybe like this in here. Oh, that's like a purple color. Not really after that. Oh, interesting. There's a missing layer somewhere. Oh, it's in this. It's actually drawn in this layer. A little mistake there. So I'm gonna add in some reds here. I'm gonna come back with my eraser to clean up the edge here. Now, this is not the best way to work because there we go. Because this white area in here, actually, what I'll do is I'll just go through and erase this section in here. And if you've gotten bored of me talking at this point and you understand how far you want to go with this project, by all means jump in and start working on this assignment. If you want to know more though, and you want to take a look and like pick up some techniques, come back in and and drop back in and visit it some more and see, okay, what else did I do? What else did Mr. Cross do? What did he do there? How did he do that? How do I like mix this stuff together, right? And there's more that we can do with the brush as well, in regards to what are called flow and opacity. But I just want to see what you can do with this project for now. And your job is to create 5 different drawings using these 5 different examples here. And don't forget, every now and then just press Command S and save your work. We want to save this to that folder that we created, right? Digital drawing. And hopefully that's a good start for you. And I'm going to do more in class. I'm going to show you a little bit more fine work because again, I'm drawing with my mouse, and I'd rather draw with my stylus, but it's at work at Overfelt. So that's it. If you have questions for me, please ask me questions. Raise your hand. Hopefully this video was loud enough that you could hear. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you like the video. Cheers.